I used to think motivation lived in self-help books and green smoothies. Turns out it lives in rats. So in 1957, at Johns Hopkins University, a psychologist named Kurt P. Richer wanted to do a study on rats to see how long they would survive in water. He put the rats in water and they lived for maybe 2 to 5 minutes. Then he decided to make a small change in the whole experiment he was doing. The next set of rats survived for 60 hours. That's a 1800x increase in endurance. So what happened? What he did was, at the 1 minute 30-second mark for the next set of rats, he immersed them, he took them out of the water and repeatedly did that. What he did was, he set an expectation of survival. In simpler words, he created hope. Hope increased endurance by 1800x. That's insane. Of course, I'm using this as a metaphor, but repeated experiences can create learned expectations. And learned expectations can completely change your perseverance and persistence. We're not rats, obviously, but our behavior also follows the expectations we practice. In fact, I would say it's the only performance enhancer that comes free with your nervous system. Quick confession, I had a 0.2 GPA in my engineering in a semester. Not 0.2. It wasn't a failed grade, it wasn't just one subject. I took 5 years to complete engineering. 10 years later, I went on to leading India businesses for international companies. Same person, same brain. What changed? Basically, the only thing that I changed was I told my neurons to fire a different story. Instead of saying, I'm not built for this, I can't do this, I started rehearsing, I can do this, I am rewiring for this. You carry about 86 billion neurons and roughly 100 trillion connections. With some repetitions, some responses become easier to access. And with neglect, they fail. You can be anything you want to be. I'm not going to bore you with the boring jargon and more studies. Instead, I'm going to tell you about one tool that has helped me change my mindset. Also, obviously, this is not medical advice. This is just behavioral science, so obviously results can vary. For me, it was reframe, anchor, design, prune, and then finally seal. What is reframe? Plan your response. Pre-decide what you'll do when you're nervous or whenever any stress shows up. For example, when I feel X, I will Y. When I feel nervous, I will breathe twice. Write it down. Repeat it constantly. In fact, repetition makes the response easier to come up when it actually comes. Next is anchor. What is anchor? Set a cue. This is basically a small physical action to remind you of a peak moment that you had in your life, to bring that state back. For example, let's say you won a tournament or you did really well at some place. Remember that moment, remember the stage, remember how you felt, remember how you were breathing. Set a cue. A cue could be your thumb between your hands, for example, and make that your cue. So now every time you're in a high stakes situation, think of that moment, get your cue, and then you will be in the same peak state you were as you were in the first time. This is a great way to calm down nerves. Third one is design. Make good cues easy. Now that you have some cues, also always make it very, very accessible. So design your space in such a way that in the next 10 seconds you can do it. And also try to remove the bad cues out of sight. Let's say you want to get a gym practice and you want to start going to the gym. How do you do it? Put your bags and your shoes at the door one night before. From your front of the phone, remove all your social media apps and put it on the second or third page. Maybe put a timer and maybe put maps and put a nice Spotify playlist so that you get up and you go. Attention follows what's visible and behavior follows the path of least resistance. So honestly, if you want to get something done, do it. If your gym bag is going to be under 3 suitcases, I'm sorry, you're never going to go to the gym. Next, prune. Prune whatever is the old story. Any line that makes you feel like you're slowing down. I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'm lazy, cut it out. Cut out the BS. The rule is no debates every single time. The next 30 days, in fact this is a task I'm going to give all of you. The next 30 days, any time you have that thought in your mind, replace it with something like, yes, I can do it. And no 100% debates, absolutely no getting back on that. And the last one is sleep. Wind down and sleep. No matter how much you practice, if you don't do recovery, it's of no use. And that's why if you're practicing and you're not recovering, you're not going to seal any of it. Lower the lights, put your phone away, maybe even write down the next 3 things you're going to do tomorrow morning. Sleep also supports memory consolidation. If you are looking at your phone at 2 a.m., it's like telling a DJ at 7 a.m. in the morning encore. I mean, everyone wants to just go home, no one wants to party anymore. So these were my 5 action plans for a tool. Reframe, anchor, design, prune, and seed. I also have 5 boosters, which I'll quickly get you through. The first one is avoid future pain. When a hard thing is coming, for example, your exam, surgery, don't pay the bill twice. I mean, you're already going to face pain 2 weeks later. Why suffer again? Whatever has to happen will happen anyway. So you may as well suffer in the future and not suffer in the present. The next one is, you've already survived your worst day. Anything that has ever happened to you in your life, you've survived it. You're here, you're breathing, you're alive, right? So anything that you could go through, the worst pain that you could go through in your life, you've already done it and you are here living, breathing. The third one is, check your biomarkers. For example, this one time for 6 months I was super depressed and I was very low on energy and I tried everything and I couldn't figure out why. Turns out I was just low on vitamin D. So check your biomarkers, check all your vitamins, stay physically healthy, because if your body is not going to be great, your mind won't work. The fourth one is, chaos makes better stories. Let's say you are traveling to Paris. You're not going to talk about, oh, I went to the Eiffel Tower, etc., etc. You're going to talk about, oh, I missed this train, and then I lost my bags, etc., etc. Right? So the best stories are when we screw up in life, honestly. And that's why it's okay to have no comfort. In fact, comfort makes you stagnant. And chaos is when you grow. Like I said, I completed engineering in 5 years. If I hadn't got my year back, I wouldn't have started working in the company that started the same year as an intern, and I would have never become VP there. So chaos is always good. And the last one is, failure is good. Don't be afraid of failure. I'm sure you've heard it all so many times before, but that's how it is. Failure, when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up. And like Fight Club says, losing all hope is freedom. I'm not saying that this is be self-destructive, but what I'm saying is, it's okay to lose the freedom to always be a perfectionist. Anyway, so this was my 1 tool and 5 anchors. I hope after this talk and so many wonderful talks, you realize that the brain is extremely malleable. It's like clay. And everything we do is just a story we tell ourselves. You can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. It's only up to you. And if you decide to change it, you easily can. Thank you.